So now to open Microsoft Word, it's very easy. Search for Word 20. I have Word 2013 on the system. So on my left hand side, I have the recent work. Then on this place, I have the blank documents. Then we have other templates. Okay, so I'm going to click use the blank documents. So I have the title bar, then I have the menu or the tabs. So I have home, I have insert, I have the design, the layout, the reference, the mailings, the reviews, the views. Okay, so now for each of the tabs we have what we call the ribbons. Okay, the ribbons are the long horizontal bar. So like under the home, I have the ribbons, and by the same time I have the groups. So now under homes, I have the clipboard groups, I have the front groups, I have the paragraph groups, then I have the style groups. So the same thing under the insert, we have the same thing, the page, the tables, the illustrations, the apps, the links, the comments, the header and footers, the text, and the symbols. So now under the design, we have the themes. Okay, we have the background, page background. Under the same thing, under the page layouts, I have the page setups, I have the paragraph, the alignments, and the references, the mailings, the review, and the view. Okay, so we have it like that. Okay, so now with home tabs, so I'm going to explain what is here, and before that, now I have horizontal lines, then I have the vertical lines or the vertical ruler, and we have the horizontal ruler. Okay, so these are what you need, and below at this place I have the status bar. On the status bar you have the page 1 of 1 and the word counts, the inserts, and the rests. Then I have the views and the zoom. Okay, so on the white background here, that is the document editing area, and I have something that is blinking, that is cursor. So now let's start. I want to generate a text. Now most of our words now are using AI, so we can use AI to generate texts instead of typing, or you can just look for the way of just to reduce your typing skill. Now for the offline word, there is no AI, so but there is something we normally do. I'm going to type something using equal to round, bracket open and bracket close. Okay, so it's going to specify the number of paragraph and the number of characters. So I can just press enter. So once I press enter, so it's going to automatically generate text for me. So I have this. So now after I have done that, so what I want to explain is how you want to format your text. So now when you are talking about formatting the text, the first thing is to select or you highlight what you want to do. There is ways you can do that. You can click and drag, you can press Ctrl A to select all, and you can double click. When you double click, it's going to select by text. Okay, when you triple click, it's going to select by paragraph. So once your text has been selected, you have this pop-up, and the same thing you still have it under home. You have the font. I can bold, or you press Ctrl B to bold. Okay, I have italic, or you press Ctrl I to put italic. I have the underline. Press Ctrl U to underline. Beside it, I have small arrow. Now on the small arrow at this place, Then I have double line, I have thick lines, I have dash line, and other more dash line. Okay, so now let me put thick line, and the same place I can also have my lines color. You can color it. Okay, you can color your lines, and from that end you have Control W to underline by word. You have Control Shift D to underline, to double underlines. So this is what you can do. Okay, apart from bold, so there's other things that you can do. We have the fonts. By default in Word and above, Word 2007 and above, the default font is Calibri. So you can have your fonts. So the font is just the handwritten. So the font is just the handwritten. So you can change the font. You have the area, and you can change any other font that you want. And it's going to be, I have the font size. Okay, the font size is to increase the font, so it's different from the zooming for you to see. The font size, I have the font size. I have the shortcut for the font size. You have the A to decrease the font size. I have the capital A to increase the font size. I have the small a to decrease. But the shortcuts on the keyboard is by pressing Ctrl Shift greater than, Ctrl Shift greater than, or the Ctrl Shift less than. Let me just, so this is what I just press. I press Ctrl plus Shift plus this or this. So when you press that, it's going to increase the font size. Okay, one is going to increase, or you can just press Control this arrow, this symbol. So when you press that symbol, so it's going to increase the font size, or it's going to decrease the font size. So either of the way. Now this is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to format the tests. Try to format the tests. Okay, so now let me just select this one alone. Okay, I can change this to capital letter. Okay, from where it's written capital A, small a. I don't know whether you can see it. So now you don't see it. Now I'll zoom it for you to see. Now I have the sentence case, I have the lower case, I have the upper case, I have the capitalize each word. So I can change this to upper case. Okay, can you see it has changed to upper case, and the rest like that. And to do that with the keyboard, you press Shift F3. So when you press Shift F3, it's going to change it to upper case. If you press it again, it's going to change to sentence case, and you press it again, it's going to change it to lower case. Press it again, it's going to change it to capital letter. Upper case, it's going to change it to upper case. Then I have my font color right this place, where you can change the fonts. You can change the font color, and you can have more font color. And to get more font color, or you can use gradients. Okay, you can use gradients. Gradient is like mixing of the different colors. Okay, from that end, you can also do some other things apart from gradients. You can add variance, or put variation to it, or light variation, or another thing. From that end, you can change the text. You have the fonts, different font size, fonts tests. So you can change this to any one. And from that end, you can apply shadow, okay, you can apply deflection, and you can apply glow from that end. So we have different things that you can do from that place. So now another things that you can do from that is you can highlight. So if you want to highlight, just click on this box, then you pick a color for the highlight. You have the AB and the color and the pen for the color, so you can have that. So you click on this, then you can click and drag on any text, so it's going to highlight it. And you can first select, if you want to remove the highlight, just press escape from your keyboard, so it's going to remove it. So now if you have made a mistake and all this format, you don't want it, and what you just need to do, you just click on clear format. So by the time you clear format, it's going to return everything to the normal position. Have you seen it? I've returned everything to the normal position. So that is clear format. Okay, so just select and click on this and click no color to remove that one. Then I have strike through. Okay, strike through is like, if you select, and computer is going to put strike through. Computer is going to put strike through to it. Then all what I've done, I can also do it in another way, okay, using the dialog box. So now on this place, I have the launch dialog box. Okay, launch dialog box. This very small button. Have you seen it? Now just try to note all the keyword I'm mentioning, because in the other application I'm not going to mention this again, so I will just go straight to the points. Okay, so now I have the font dialog box, so it's going to bring out the font dialog box, or you press Ctrl Shift F or Ctrl D. So if you press Ctrl D, so you are going to have the dialog box. What's the advantage of being a good computer literate is for you to be able to use keyboard without not using the mouse. So I'm using the mouse, that's why you are getting it, because you are seeing where the arrow is going. By the time I start pressing, you just be seeing something coming up, you won't know what I press. You get it? So that's why it's good for you to know the shortcuts. So I have the fonts, I have the font size, I have the font color. Okay, now I want to do the double strike through. So I have the superscripts and subscript. Now let me cancel it. Let's say for example I want to type, I type N, I can select and press my Ctrl D to have my dialog box. Then I can put double strike through. So can you see it? I have the symbol for the naira, that is double strike through. Now the same thing, I have the superscripts and I have this subscripts. So let's say you have each 2O, then you can select the 2. Okay, then you click on subscripts. So there are some times that when you are typing dates, automatically computer helps you to subscript or superscript. Let's say for example I just type today is 28th November. So can you see it? Automatically computer has superscript that. If you write this, that is the position, it's not dates. Okay, and most of us will leave it like that. So you can correct it by select, by highlight that TH. Okay, if you press Ctrl Shift plus, it's going to superscript. If you press it again, it's going to put it normal. Now I want to explain format painter. Let me just clear this text and let's write another thing. So equal to round bracket open. So I'm going to specify this time around. Okay, I just put 4, 11 and I close it. Okay, round. Okay, I'm going to put round. I press enter. So it's giving me 4 paragraphs and with 4 lines. I don't want to use that. I can use lorem. Okay, the first number that you put is going to show how many paragraphs that you're going to have. Let's say I'm going to have 24 paragraphs. Okay, comma, how many lines for each of the words? Let's just say 2, and I close it. So this one is in French, so by the time I press enter, so I can have that. So it's automatically generated this. So let's say from this place I have my chapter 1. Okay, so what I'm doing for chapter 1, I want to bold it. Okay, I want to put it at the center. So this place I have my paragraph, I have my alignments. Are you seeing it? I have my paragraph, I have the alignments, I have the center, I have the right, align right, align left. Or I can press Ctrl L for left, I can press Ctrl E for center, I can press Ctrl J for Ctrl R for right, I can press Ctrl J for justify. So now if I put it at the center, it's already at the center. I can change the fonts. Let's just put it at this place. I can increase the font size. So now I can increase the font size. So I can change the font color. So let me just select, and I can change the font color. Okay, so now let's assume that I want to have, okay, my chapter 2 at this place. Chapter 2. Okay, I want to have my chapter 3 at this place. Okay, so this is just an assumption. So now what I've done here, I want to repeat it for chapter 2, I want to repeat it for chapter 3. You know, by going to select, go to bold, go to this and that, is going to waste time. So now what I will do is I will apply what we call format painter. I will copy the format and I will paste it. So it's very simple. Now this is what I will do. The format I want to copy, I will click on that place. This is the format that I want to copy. Do you get it? That's the format. You can click on it, or you can select it, or you highlight it, anyone. So I will now, on my left hand side at this point, I have my format painter, or you press Ctrl Shift C. Okay, Ctrl Shift C. So I'm going to double click on the format painter. So once I do that, you are going to see the brush, the black brush. Have you seen the black brush attached to the arrow, to the icon? Have you seen it? So I'm bringing it down to the chapter 2. Okay, so when I get to the chapter 2, I'm going to select it, I'm going to highlight. So automatically it has applied to that place. I go to the chapter 3, I will do the same thing. I will click and apply like that. Even if I have thousands of chapters, so it's easier for me to apply. So now if you are doing it one after the other, before you get to chapter 4, you might have forgotten what effects or what format you are using from the chapter 1. So it makes it look nice, and make your work look uniform, especially when by the time you are doing your projects. Your headings, they must all be the same way, you must have the same font, the same character. So if you have done it for the chapter 1, so you don't need to waste your time, just apply it to chapter 2. And remember, what you are doing here, you can do it better on phone. You don't need to have your system before you do what I'm doing here. You can also do it on phone, especially by the time you are using the WPS. So I want to explain the alignments. Now I have my left, right, center, and I have justify for Ctrl J. Okay, so now coming down to the paragraph, I just click on the dialog box and I have this dialog box. I have the indents and spacing. I have the index and spacing. I have the align left. Then I have the indentation. Okay, indentation is going to, from left, is going to push it from left here down to this place, and the time I click OK, so you are going to see. So this is indentation. So I will show you another way of doing that. So the same thing, I have the right indents. So I'm going to explain first line and the difference between first line and hanging. I have the spacing before and spacing after. The spacing before, after a paragraph, you always have a spacing before. I'm going to explain that also. And you have multiple spacing. You can put it to single spacing or 1.5 spacing, anyone. So I don't want to come to the paragraph, to this dialog box again, so that you can see what is there. I have the alignments, then I have the indentation, then I have the spacing. Okay, so we have the tabs. So there's no, the tabs I'm going to show us the tabs. The tabs is moving by 0.5, and from left you can do your tabs to center, or you can do your tabs to the right. Okay, so but I'm going to show us now. Now let's come to the ruler. On the ruler, now I have my, if I click on the ruler on the top here, you see there's something like a bar at that place. By the time you put your mouse on the first bar, so it's going to come out with first line indent. So first line indent is like the first line paragraph. So you can put it like that. So can you see it? I just click and drag on that place. That is first line indent. So let me take it back, and below it I have my hanging indents. So now if I click on the hanging indents, it's going to leave my first line, and the rest of the paragraph is going to indent it. Now this is the indent hanging. Now let me return it. If I press Ctrl Z, it's going to undo. Ctrl Y is going to redo. Now if the last box is indent, so when I click and drag, it's going to move everything. So that is left indent, and that is right indent from this place. By the time I press the tabs, so it's going to push it in. Okay, and if I press Shift tabs again, it's going to return it back. Okay, so that is tabs. If I select all, Ctrl A, and I press Ctrl 1, it's going to put it to single spacing. If I press Ctrl 5, it's going to put it to 1.5 spacing. If I press Ctrl 2, it's going to put it to multiple spacing or 2.0 spacing. Okay, so now on the same points, I have at that point, have you see where I click on? So I have my line spacing, and I have spacing before and spacing after. So I can remove, by default computer always puts spacing after. So I will, after the paragraph, so I will remove it, so it brings everything together. Okay, let me go back to Ctrl 1. So it's bringing everything together. So if I click on that place, I can add space after or before the paragraph, or space after the paragraph. So it's going to put the space after the paragraph. So now let's do something very interesting. If I press *X and I press space bar, so it's going to put a bullet. If I press enter, it's going to add another bullet. If I add another bullet, another enter, is going to put another bullet. Okay, if I put another one, it's going to put another bullet. So if I select this, I can change this bullet, okay, to different style. If I click the arrow beside it, I have different bullet at that point, so I can change it. So I can define a new bullet. So when I click here, I have a new bullet. You can use pictures for bullets. If you have your image, I want to use your image as a bullet, just click on the picture. So you can work offline or you try it online. If I work offline, I have my dialog box. I can have the picture, look for where the picture is. I don't have any picture on my system right away. So if you have your picture, you just click on that, just open it, and it's going to be here. So instead of that, I can use symbol. So I will click on the symbol. So I have different symbols. Okay, so now you can see you can apply some bullets that it's not common. So now let me use this as a symbol. Let me use this as a symbol. So once I click on that, I will click on OK. So it's going to apply it. I already have it at this point there. I will click on OK. Can you see it? It's already applied as a symbol. So you can use that as a symbol, and at the same time you can change the symbols to numbering. So we have the numbering styles, different numbering styles. Okay, if you don't like any of this one, you can also define your numbering style. So you come to this, define the numbering style. Okay, you have these different formats. Okay, now let me use this one. It's not common. Then I will click on OK. So I have different numbering style. So now from this end, we also have what we call the listing. Oh, sorry, we have what we call the nesting. So if you want to do nesting, so this is what I will do. You first list. Let's say after 1, I want to have sub. So I will click after 1 and I press enter. Computer is going to automatically generate another numbering for me. So I can say just press on the tab. By the time you press on the tab, so it's changing it to nest. So that is what we call the nested. I can say under 1, I can have 1 1. Press enter. I can have 1 2. I can have 1 3, 1 4. So now if you want to have another sub from the 1 1, you have to click at that end, then you press enter. So it's giving you another nest. Okay, so you press tabs, so it's going to change it. So by the time you click on that, so you can just put your another one. Okay, so you continue like that. So now if you want to put gap between this okay, now let's do it. Let's do another thing. Let me Ctrl A to select all, press delete to clear that all. Let me press Ctrl N to take a new sheet. Now I can just press, just as said, 1 2 3 4. I just type that. So now I will select this and I will come to the numbering. Okay. So now I want to space between 1. Okay, so now let me press this. Let's do this. So now let's assume that the space between 1, okay, I want to put the space there. So what I will do is I will click before 1, before my numbering or my bullets. Then I will come to hanging, so I can push it far away. So I will do the same thing here. I can push it far away. Can you see it on the ruler? So I'm doing that on the ruler. So these are little things that you can add to your knowledge. That's something that is very difficult to do. once you know it, you find it able to adjust your tests. Okay, so now, okay, lastly, to end today's class, so now I want to explain let me just put equal to rand and have this. Okay, now if I click on this paragraph, I can come to shading. So I have the shading, so it's going to shade it. It's different from the highlights, so you can have the shading. Okay, and you can have the border for that one also. So it's going to put it on the border. Okay, can you see it? So now let's say, for example, like this one, this paragraph, don't let me shade it. I just click on that place, I come to the border, so I can click on. Okay, so if I see border, bottom border, is going to apply the border below. It's going to apply the border below. Can you see? Just like I put lines on it, especially by the time you are doing your CV, and there's something like design that you do. See, they put line, and you are wondering how they apply the lines to that place. So that is how to put the lines under that place. Or see it on my left hand side before the text, or on my right, or you can apply it to both, or on the round. So depending on the one you want. Okay, I will still explain it by the time I'm explaining the page layout, but in case you are unable to get to that point, you can still get it from this side. So let me just pick outside the border, so you see that apply the borders to that place. Okay, so it's always good for you to complete your typing before you start applying the formatting, because if you are doing it while you are, so one is going to slow you down, then number two is going to continue to apply it to the rest, and you find it difficult to remove, and you'll be looking for the way to remove. So that's why it's always good for you to first type finish, then you now proofread. As you are proofread, then you'll be doing the correction, and you'll be doing the formatting, so it makes your work more easier. So you can use your Google Lens to grab your text and copy it on the word. It's going to scatter it, then you start arranging it, so it makes your work more look fine. So now this ties, is like, if the way you have arranged it in this Microsoft Word, that's the way you want it to apply on online on the web browser. So you just come to this style, so you pick a style. By the time you load this word on the website, so it's going to retain the format. But if you copy without using this style, any of these styles, and you just put normal, okay, by the time you put it on Microsoft this Microsoft Word on internet, it's going to put everything on a single line straight away. So that's why it's always good to apply the styles, especially if you are using your document for the browser. Okay, maybe you want to integrate what you have written on your Word. Okay, you want to copy it down to the browser, and you want computer to retain the way it's being arranged here into your browser. Okay, or else you start applying the browser code, the web code, to adjust it the way it is on the Microsoft Word. But if you use styles, it's going to automatically retain that style the way it is, and generate code for it, and put it on the web code. And by the time you load that page, it's going to look like the way it is on the Microsoft Word. So that is styles. So I have find. You are looking for a single word. So by the time you press Ctrl F, okay, it's going to bring out the dialog box. Okay, for this one, is going to bring it down on this left hand side. I have this as a navigation. You can find, and by the same time you can replace, find and replace, and that is Ctrl G. So it's going to find a word and replace it with a new word. Let's say, for example, you type Odomosho with H, and your supervisor said there is no age, and if you start counting till how many times you have typed it, but one by one, may take almost about 50. So now for you to go and replace it one after the other is going to waste time. So what you will do is just use the replace. Say replace what? Find this. Okay, then you now type what you want computer to replace it with, especially in biology when you have different types of the way you are typing. One is American, one is British. Maybe you have typed it in American ways and they said no, it's supposed to be in British. Okay, and you want to change everything. So these are the styles that you can apply to that. Then lastly, then the select is by the time you use the image and you want to select the image on the Microsoft Word, so you use the select button. So you can, there is a way to apply the image. So if you get that, I will explain it. So you just come to the select, then it says select the object, so allow you to select the object, the image, your picture you have inserted on your document, and you are able to move it around the text. So when we get to the inserts, so I'm going to show you how you can do the select. So for now, and that is what you can do. Then there is one icon that I need to show you. It make them look make them look foolish. Okay, because if you make you to look like as if that your Microsoft Word is 40 or it has got virus. So now is this icon is the icon of show or hide. That icon is known to be show or hide. So now by the time I press tabs, I press space, I press enter, nothing show, but there is always an icon for that. So if you want to see that icon, once I click on it, that icon is going to display. So you can find this icon. Whenever you see this icon, so that I've pressed enter, is a symbol for enter. Okay, and when you see this arrow, is means that I've pressed tabs, and the full stop is like this. So